I mean, truly, I've never seen the Pakistani government officials look so meek, so submissive, so nervous, and so unsure of themselves as the spokesperson in that news report was. The only person who seems to have any confidence in Pakistan today, Colonel Shafqat, Saeed and Syed Tariq Peerzada joining us from Islamabad. The only person who seems to have any confidence in Pakistan today is Hafiz Saeed. I'd also like to welcome Hardeep Puri, Chairman of the UN Security Council Committee Against Terrorism and former permanent representative of India to the UN, and BJP leader Maroof, Raza, strategic affairs expert, General G.D. Bakshi. So, you know, Colonel Shafqat Saeed, the general view is, you see, I don't even want to ask you whether now with the US formally recognizing that JUD equals LET, Jamaat-ud-Dawa equals Lashkar-e-Toiba, you have been therefore defending a terror group all this while along. The only thing is that if you want to do so today, you just need to do one more thing. You need to formally declare yourself as a terrorist state. Because there is no hiding on this anymore. The man is doing press conferences on your soil. The only reason you are allowing him to do so, Colonel Saeed, is because you are informally a terrorist state. If you declare yourself formally a terrorist state, then other terrorist organizations in the world like the ISIS, others may give you financial aid. You won't have to depend on the Americans. But since you depend on the Americans, since you are bankrupt, since you are indebted to them financially, you will have to listen to them. And they have said today that you are harboring a terrorist group called the Lashkar-e-Toiba, also known as the Jamaat-ud-Dawa. Your whole farce is being exposed, Colonel Saeed and Syed Tariq Peerzada. You know it. I'm sure both of you know it. So, how long will you carry this farce along? No, please go ahead.
He hasn't addressed.
Zarur boli. You're both free to speak.
Now, whom you want to speak, you have not asked us who should be speaking at the moment.
Either of you. It seems both of you don't have an answer.
Why not? I have an answer for you.
You haven't addressed anybody.
Really?
You passed a comment, you did not ask the question.
Well, I asked you the question 3 times that now with the US formally recognizing that the Jamaat-ud-Dawa equals the LET, doesn't this mean that you have been defending a terrorist group all this while along? And do you think the option of declaring Pakistan a terrorist state is a more honest option?
And if Pakistan is declared a terrorist state by United States, the reason would be India. And where from this LET came
India.
and
America
why this Jamaat-ud-Dawa is changing
It was America which has put 2 leaders of the Lashkar-e-Toiba on the list of specially designated global terrorists and named the Jamaat-ud-Dawa among 4 alliances of the Lashkar-e-Toiba.
There are many other organizations also.
What about the Jamaat-ud-Dawa?
There are hundreds of LATs.
What about the Jamaat-ud-Dawa?
The reason is Indian occupation of Kashmir.
No, please.
Not only one Jamaat-ud-Dawa, there are many Jamaat-ud-Dawa. They would continue to grow. They would be tonight. They are breeding. They would continue breeding till the time we have not solved Kashmir.
You see, at least tonight, understand the fix that you are in. Just understand today. The UN Security Council banned Jamaat-ud-Dawa in 2008. The Pakistan government formally issued no notification to ban it. Only agreed to it orally. Today, the US has put leaders of the Jamaat-ud-Dawa on the list of specially designated global terrorists. It has named the Jamaat-ud-Dawa as the alliances of the Lashkar. You see, realize, sir, I sympathize with your situation because... No, sir, please, I sympathize with your and Syed Tariq Peerzada's situation because on so many programs you came so far, and what was Mr. Peerzada's basic argument? His argument was the Jamaat-ud-Dawa is some kind of an NGO.
Don't sum up my argument.
No, you used to say that.
I can make my argument very eloquently in your program.
You used to say that. Don't you? Have you forgotten that you used to call it some kind of an NGO?
No, I have not forgotten anything. And let me start by saying, do I have the permission?
Go ahead.
All right. Your problem is that
Don't tell me my problem, address your
trying to fashion a foreign policy for the Modi government at a time
Narendra Modi is not telling Barack Obama what to do. You may have some nightmares, but Modi is not telling Barack Obama to expose the Jamaat-ud-Dawa. If you actually believe so, then you are living in Alice in Wonderland.
And I can tell you the story that you are coming up with. It has been rehashed and 1,000 times rehashed before.
What story?
These two petty, officials or workers of Lashkar-e-Taiba or whatever you call it, they have no standing.
So what are you talking about?
So
what are you talking about? The Lashkar-e-Taiba has been designated. Sir, what are you talking about? Sir, you don't seem to understand the fact.
The State Department.
Sir, you don't seem to understand the fact.
Come up with this lousy statement and a set of charges that makes no sense. India's government is not taking any position on this issue today. So your program stands exposed in terms of the fact that you are simply setting a direction for the foreign policy of Mr. Modi, who wants to normalize relations with Pakistan.
No, I'll tell you one thing, sir. I said at the start that my commiserations are with you. My sympathies are with you.
No.
Because when you carry out a sham and when
you
you're
don't have to have your sympathies with us. My sympathies are not with you.
Sir, I'm telling you, when you carry out a sham and you're exposed so openly, it must hurt you. But you must understand.
You know,
that the US, I heard you. GD Bakshi coming to the debate. The US imposed sanctions on the Jamaat-ud-Dawa on 10th December 2008.
That you are a stooge and a client state. You don't have an independent
kindly, can I just request our Pakistani interlocutors to give somebody else a chance on this show? Thank you. Arnab, I want to point out that the United States has been forced to take this step consequent to the attack on our consulate in Herat by the same Lashkar-e-Taiba. The whole world is aware of what this organization is up to, less the legal and military and political establishment in Pakistan.
It is a rehash story for the people of India.
You have been nurturing these pit vipers.
That's it.
You have been nurturing these pit vipers, and now they have begun to bite you.
Bakshi,
at least the Pakistani Tariq-e-Taliban have begun to bite you.
I can tell you that.
The Lashkar-e-Taiba will do the same to you.
But you need to grow up.
The Lashkar-e-Taiba will do the same to you. The Lashkar that you are nurturing so assiduously as a strategic asset.
You are accusing them.
अरे साहब आप जैसा भी बोल लें, आप जैसा भी बोल लें, मैं आपको I just want to tell you that you have been eroding your own basis as a nation state by sponsoring these armed terrorist groups in your own country.
Sir, Sir, 1 minute. I'd like to put a bit of history here.
For the foreign policy,
I'd like to put a bit of history here.
In relations to Pakistan.
So I just want to put a bit of history for our viewers in India about the significance of what has happened today.
To reshape Pakistan.
Mr. Peerzada, I just want to speak to my viewers, if you allow me for a minute. To all the viewers, this is why what has happened is important. On the 26th of November 2008, Hafiz Saeed carried out the 26/11 attack in India. Hundreds of Indians were killed.
That's your personal
1 minute, sir. Let me complete. The United Nations imposed. Sir, 1 minute. Sir, let me complete. I'm speaking to my viewers. The United Nations imposed sanctions on the 10th of December 2008. Within 2 weeks, we put up so much pressure on them. The Pakistan, 1 minute, sir. The Pakistan government carried out the gigantic fraud by saying, Jamaat-ud-Dawa is a different organization. And at that time, the Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi was the leader of this fraud when he said that they run seminaries and schools and they teach some students. They are not extremists. There is no violence there. Today, America has said that this same group is responsible for the attack on our consulate in Herat. Its members are terrorists and it is a terrorist organization. There is today, ladies and gentlemen, absolutely not a speck of logic. Not a speck of logic Pakistan has anymore. Which is why I began by saying that after today.
Well, that's your personal opinion.
Which is why I began by saying that after today. And I'd like to go to Hardeep, Puri. After today, If after today Pakistan continues to allow this man Hafiz Saeed to carry out press conferences, I think the more honorable option, Hardeep Puri, for Pakistan is to declare itself formally a terrorist state.
Arnab,
Let it be the world's first official terrorist
option.
So you expose yourself with that. You expose yourself with that laughter.
The issue of this program and
Arnab,
talk
the
about
facts
the
speak for
foreign policy
themselves.
of India.
Hardeep Puri speaking. So Hardeep Puri. Hardeep Puri
of the Indian media, which is a bankrupt, media.
Arnab, if my
Hardeep Puri is responding to you, sir. 1 minute.
Show me the
I would
courtesy.
say that India needs to have a foreign
Arnab,
policy
if my
which matches
Pakistani
its size
colleagues
and
will
status.
just show me the courtesy
Why should
of
India
just
be just
stating some
Pakistan focused?
facts which are
India should
available
resolve
on
the
the
issues in
record
this region.
in the public domain.
And
In the year
stories.
2005,
He has
Mr.
stories.
Hafiz
It's the same
Saeed
Ganga
was
story.
declared a proscribed
Now you are
entity
trying to make a headline
sanctioned
with a
by the
he has
United
story.
Nations
Arnab,
Security Council
tell Maroof,
1267
he has to
Committee
grow up also.
on Taliban
You guys
and
keep
Al-Qaeda
rehashing
sanctions.
the same
In
thing.
2008, Mr. Hafiz Saeed's 8 alliances were also sanctioned. Also in 2008, Lashkar-e-Toiba and its 21 alliances,
No, it's
including
not
the
Toiba.
JUD,
It's not
were
Toiba.
sanctioned. There are different permutations and combinations of what the JUD could be
guys,
described as.
you need
Now
to
you can
correct
laugh
the
it away,
pronunciation, number
but the
one,
international
and then
community
talk about the
has
substance.
already made a determination, and that determination says from 2005, Hafiz Syed is a proscribed, banned entity sanctioned by the United Nations Security Council,
Let me
and in
tell you
2008,
who
Let him speak. Let Mr. Puri speak.
and all its
None of you know
alliances
him.
were
I can
sanctioned.
tell you,
Now all that
he
has
is
happened
the man
today
who
is that the
stands
United
for the
States
freedom
has
of
followed
Kashmir,
with a
and he
significant
will
step
continue to
and
struggle
has
for that,
endorsed
no matter
the
what
view
you
of the
do.
UN Security
As far as
Council. Now you
him
can
as
go
a
on
person
interrupting me.
or a
It
leader
does
in
not really
Pakistan,
matter.
he is
But the
just
facts of the matter
another
are
citizen of
that the
Pakistan
denials
striving
which
to
came
get
from the
Kashmir
Pakistani Foreign
resolved
Office are
at the present
almost
time.
laughable.
No other
The
issue
Pakistani
is
Foreign Office
more important to Hafiz
spokesperson
Saeed
said,
or
and let
to
me
any
quote,
other
Mr.
Pakistani.
Peerzada, hear him, please. He heard
follow
you.
the sanctions by one country, but we will only follow the sanctions by the UN Security Council. So
Talk
I'm
about-
telling you,
Talk
Hear
about-
him, Mr. Peerzada.
Talk about the last
Since
paragraph of the
2008.
Simla Agreement. Kashmir is the real issue. You
Sir.
guys going to be bleeding all your life if you don't resolve this issue.
I'll tell you one thing. This is such a bad old record that you play. I think a more appropriate way is to say this. 1 second. You have another option. The first option is to declare yourself a
Which
terrorist
is?
state. 1 second. Mr. Peerzada, hear me, please.
Oh,
The
but
second
that was
option,
your first option.
No, the
right?
second option which you may consider is to also say that we are a terrorist state which is completely bankrupt, and we believe that we will try and blackmail the entire world into, with these
So
sort of
are you
terror
saying
groups into
that Narendra
lending us a
Modi
bit
is a
of money.
terrorist
If
who
you
is
are so
talking to
bankrupt,
Pakistan?
no, if you are
Because
so
Pakistan is a
bankrupt, sir,
terrorist
Mr.
state,
Peerzada,
as
I
you said.
understand the
Or
precarious
Narendra Modi is
situation.
a terrorist
I understand
Are
that
you
you're
trying
bankrupt,
to
but
say
then the
that
better way,
is the United
Mr.
States a terrorist
Peerzada,
country
is to simply
because it
say
is
that
talking
we
to a
have no
terrorist
money.
country? Well, you do become a terrorist by vicariously, don't you?
I'll tell you something, Mr. Peerzada, if you choose to listen. Consider what the Pakistan Foreign Office spokesperson Tasneem Aslam said.
You have
She
run
claims-
out of ideas.
Sir, please hear me. You don't want to
repeating
listen.
Yourself. You are rehashing the same story, and now
Mr.
times have changed.
Now,
Mr. Let
really, I'll
Modi
tell you something.
run the
Mr.
government
Peerzada,
in
I
India.
think you are
Don't set an
repeating
agenda for
yourself.
him.
Maroof, my next question is to Maroof. Maroof, consider what the Pakistan
Yes,
Foreign
you need
Office
the guns of
spokesperson,
Maroof
and let us see.
Raza. Yes,
Let us see if Maroof at least can draw you into a serious discussion, because the problem is that the non-serious manner in
Maroof,
which you take
oh
things
God, give me a break.
ends up being
Maroof
the
is
reason why you are exposing yourself internationally. The Pakistan Foreign Office spokesperson Maroof claims that Pakistan is under no obligation to be acting on what the US State Department has said, and since it is a signatory of the United Nations, it would be obligated if the UN has a similar view.
But to hell with the US State Department. You are a stooge and you are a client state of the United States.
I don't understand this.
We're not obligated to the United States.
You have this line, to hell with the US, to hell with the UN. By the way, you're living off American arms. Anyway, Maroof.
I didn't say UN. I said US.
Yeah, so but you are living off their arms.
If
Maroof.
Arnab, My first request is to Mr. Peerzada to please allow others to speak. If he doesn't do that, my request to you, Arnab, is to mute his volume so that let us all make our own points.
Ahead.
And when his chance comes, let him speak.
My Lordship, go ahead.
Yes, but please hear me out, sir. The first thing is, I'm not Lordship, sir, but please hear me out. The first point is that you keep harping on the Kashmir issue. Fine, you are sentimentally attached to it. But so does Hafiz Saeed harp on the Kashmir issue. That is his central rallying point. He is being used by your state as your proxy to continue to keep the Kashmir issue on the boil. It was for that
what
reason
is your charge against Hafiz Saeed,
Maroof?
What is your principal charge against Hafiz Saeed?
Sir, hear me out, sir. Hear me out. Sir, Mr. Peerzada, please hear me out. He was asked by the entire leadership of the Jamaat-ud-Dawa, of which the origin, of which he was a founder, was the Markaz-uz-Dawa or Irshad, and which became the MDI, which then eventually became the Jamaat-ud-Dawa. And out of 17 leaders, he was chosen because he was seen to be the most aggressive on issues like Kashmir and was willing to use violence. That is his track record. That is all recorded. The second point to understand is he runs a large number of charitable organizations, so he enjoys a certain popularity in the Pakistani mindset. Primarily the Al-Dawa schools, 170 of them with 20,000 students. Many of them were recruited earlier for Iraq and now being recruited for Kashmir.
In Pakistan.
This is again recorded. Sir, please. Sir, please hear me out. So your freedom fighter is the world's terrorist. Sir, he is your freedom fighter, but he is the world's terrorist. Now the central point, sir, please, Mr. Peerzada, sir, please hear me out. Your freedom fighter, he may be, but he is the world's terrorist. The point you need to understand, the same Kashmir issue you labor upon, the same fact that you say that India is being a lackey of the Americans. Look at your own history, sir. At least on 3 occasions in your history since independence, the Americans have bailed you out when all went wrong with your system. In Ayub Khan's time, in Ziaul Haq's time, in Musharraf's time. And you're telling us we are America's lackeys. And Mr. Peerzada, one small point. If your accent is anything to go by, Mr. Peerzada, sir, Mr. Peerzada, hear me out. Mr. Peerzada, hear me out. Don't continue to rattle on, let somebody else speak. If your accent is anything to go by, which is very American, I think you understand the American mindset. They will get you, sir. Slowly, steadily, they will get you. 2014 is coming to an end. Americans are withdrawing, and they are going to clamp the noose around you. You're going to feel the pain. Whether you say India is getting them to do it, whether you say international opinion is getting them to do it, Pakistan is going to be in the dock. You have to find ways to tie the snakes up that you have nurtured. That is what Hillary Clinton said.